We're in the green room. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Hope all is well. Stan, how you doing today? You on mute, Stan.
Locked in. I was talking. I was like locked in,
locked and loaded.
How you feeling today, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling amazing, man. It's a great day outside. The sun is out. I'm feeling great. Yeah.
How's the weather been in San Diego? I mean, honestly, I know it because is it warm right now? What's the vibe there?
Yeah, it's pretty warm right now, man. The sun is beaming on us. It's that sun kiss. But it's pretty warm. You got to put your air on, but at nighttime it's pretty cool as well. So you got to pick and choose which one you want. You know?
Have you been to the beach recently?
I'm kind of jealous. Have I been to the beach recently? Yes, I have. Like every once in a while, I'll just pop over to the beach and just refresh myself. And then
that's so rich. That's so rich. Just, what? Every once in a while, I just walk on down to the beach. I love it. I say that because I admire that ability. One day, I'll live beachside. I love it. I love you able to do that. The calming wave, just be able to enjoy life as you kind of move. I'm with it.
Right. Exactly, man. So we got our guest today. He's coming up to the stage pretty quickly. But for right now, before we get started, before we bring him on, what's one thing that you would want to tell people about today, about how they should live their day? Just some advice. You're on mute.
Apologies. My advice for today, it's a great question to ask because I've really been thinking about this a lot. Don't let focus on your goals because the distractions of things that don't concern you can pull you away from them. Yeah, focus on your goals because the distractions in other worlds can pull you away from. That's on me heavy. I just feel like there's a lot going on that's allowing people to distract themselves with stuff that literally does not concern them, but it makes them feel good for whatever reason. So that is it. What's yours, man? Thanks for asking.
And you're welcome. Just take it one day at a time and just breathe. Just take it one day at a time and breathe, and everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place.
I love it, man. Well, let's hop in, get this show started, and then we can just have more of the conversation, as we pull everyone in. But officially, I want to say welcome to Game Beyond the Game presents Talk That Talk, inspiring conversations with professional athletes and elite athletes as we inspire our audience to explore finding vision and purpose in life and discuss tools, life's transitions. I'm Sam Pearson, your MC, joined obviously by Prince Andrews Jr., the founder. Prince, let him know officially how you're doing.
Man, I'm doing amazing. I'm happy to be here, and it's a wonderful day in sunny San Diego. I hope it's a wonderful day in your neighborhood as well.
Yeah, heck yeah. What made you ask that question? I know as we kind of prepare for our guests, but what made you ask that question or start off that? Anything on your mind, or what do you see? Is there anything that you see happening in the universe that could be distracting to humans without saying whatever it might be? But is there a reason you asked that question?
Yeah, it's a reason. Yes, it's a reason why I asked that question. It's because it's what we're thinking about, in this world today that's going to allow for us to have the future that we want to have. So what we're thinking about in the present, what allows us to be present, allows for us to establish our future. Because the things that you think about today help you groom and grow what you want your path or your journey to look like.
Love it, man. Thank you for sharing that officially. And our guest is here, so it's about that time. It's high time. I introduce them like the rock star that they are. So I would like to introduce our guest, Joel Nwigwe, attended Alief Elsik High School in the southwest side of Houston, Texas. He was a 3-year letterman in football and a 4-year letterman in track and field. Okay, I see you overachieving. Setting school records. Joel went on to play at the University of North Texas, where he helped the Mean Green capture 3 consecutive Sun Belt titles. In 2016, Joel started the Joey P and Scottie D Foundation, which focuses on community development and empowerment through free football camps and other immediate needs for the community. Now, Mr. Nwigwe is the owner of 2 real estate companies that help redevelop properties in urban and collegiate communities. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, clap your hands, stomp your feet. Mr. Joel Nwigwe, how you feeling, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, yo, after the introduction, yo, I'm on another level, man. I'm there now, man. Yo, I appreciate that, man. That was a man. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it's a blessing, man. You know what I mean? Cannot complain at all, man. It's a pleasure
awesome
to be here. I'm so honored, to be here, and I'm glad you guys had me on.
Anytime and always. Thanks for making the time. We look forward to having a great conversation. Heck, about transition and mindset and so forth, and how you've been able to achieve and push yourself to the next level along the way. I know that you and Prince may have some connection. That Houston thing is going on.
Yeah, man. We kind of know each other, man. We kind of know each other, man. We're pretty familiar. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
that is great
my old high school teammate, you know what I mean? My brother, you know what I mean?
Love it.
It's a beautiful thing, I know his family, his mom, she watching. Mama, what's up, baby? I'm here. I'm here.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Yo, now I'm going to say something from as 2 questions I'm going to ask, obviously, because you guys go back, high school teammates. Has Prince always been Prince? And then word on the street also is that Prince has electrifying speed. And you, as a track and field connoisseur, you would certainly be able to validate that. So, both
Prince,
things.
All right, so the first thing, he was definitely always a beast. Like, hey, boys, we always had that. We cannot take that away from him. He always had it in him. Now, the second thing, you said electrifying speed. We're gonna listen. That electrifying is a big word now. I know you good with the words. I know you good with the words now. And that was pretty big. He has the speed, but electrifying.
The spark speed. Spark. There's a spark speed.
The praise.
You said you're at a 10.
One day you bring
just bring it down, just a notch, baby. Just a notch, baby.
Like you're the 10. I need to bring it to an 8 or something.
A little bit. Just give me something. You can't. Not for we always talk to shoot for the moon, but so it's the reality too now. Why you shoot for the moon to understand where your place now. The football field, it was a stomping ground. The track.
Now you didn't mess around on the track.
Here we go, man.
I was cool,
now we go humble. We go humble but truthful right now.
I gotta humble myself, I was cool.
Hey, man.
I was cool.
Man, so man, tell us about you growing up. Growing up in Houston, Texas, man. How was it? How was it, man?
I mean, growing up in Houston, it was great, man. I came up Southwest, Houston, Texas. I grew up on Foreign Park. I was on Foreign Park till I was like in 9th grade. And to y'all who ain't familiar with what Foreign Park is, it's like I don't want to. It's not a project, you know what I'm saying, but it's kind of hood. There ain't no pride, ain't no disrespect. It ain't no project, but you know what I'm saying. It's like it's considered lower urban and community, but I appreciate it and I loved it so much because that's what some of my closest friends like. That's what we came up at, playing football. You know what I'm saying, in the street. You know what I mean, time out for the cars. Type thing. You know what I mean. So it was I built bonds there that I appreciate to this day. And then growing up in a Nigerian household, man, it was Nigerian parents. It's unique, man, because they're so hard on you, but they really do want the best for you. You know what I mean? And if and sometimes like their way of understanding, like if you feel like you got a way of making something happen, or that they're not really familiar with, they're not down with it, especially out of the beginning. They got to see the rose, baby. They're not down for the seed getting planted in the ground. They got to see the rose already blooming and coming up before they get on board. But that's just what it is, But when you understand like how they come up, and how they ended up coming to America and stuff like that, then you understand their mindset, you understand like how they think, and the way they reason and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Because after like coming up as a kid, it was hard to be like, why you so mean? Or, certain things that we couldn't do. Or, it was just certain restrictions, but like I said, just like then growing up and becoming a man, and maturing, and then going to Nigeria and being in the village, and doing things like that. I kind of gained a sense of understanding.
So, were you born here in the United States, or were you born in Nigeria and then your family moved here?
Yeah, I was born. I don't know. I'm answering this like you don't know it, but it's cool. We talking to your people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I was
It's
born
our audience, man.
I was born in Houston, Texas. But both of my parents were born in Nigeria. I guess you could call them immigrants. From Nigeria, Nigerian immigrants. They were born in Nigeria. But yeah, me, myself, and all my siblings. Yeah, we were born in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Now, really quick, I know you excelled, but you mentioned being raised up tough, and parents. Was there a moment, or when was the moment where you got it? Because you said you realized based on how they came up, they did it with love. Do you feel like you're an adult when you realize, okay, I get it now?
Man, nah, man. To me, I think when I realized, like damn, okay, I get what it was in high school, man. I think it was when I made varsity. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, okay, now I see what they was, I get what they mean. You know what I mean? Like if you really want something, you really, when you really want it, you really pursue it, like with everything in you. Like the universe literally is gonna create the way, and it's gonna but you gotta be ready for the opportunity though. Like that's the whole thing. Like, cause when you asking for it, and you yearning for it, like it's gonna come, but are you gonna be ready when it comes? So that's the thing. Like a lot of people, they not ready when the opportunity comes, and I've experienced that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, when you manifest something, and you saying that you want to do something, like you just got to be ready for the opportunity when it comes, because it's gonna come. Like it's gonna come.
Ooh.
Nice.
I love the notion. Say it's gonna come. So for those of you all watching, listening, it's on the way.
It's gonna come. It's gonna. You got to be ready, baby. Like that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, and opportunity it comes in the strangest ways, and you know what I mean. That's why you got to be ready, because you never know. It could be a conversation at the gym. It could be a conversation on Clubhouse. It could be, a DM on Instagram. Like I mean, it's 2021, baby. Like the opportunities are endless, and they out there. You just got to be ready.
Nice.
Wow. So you've experienced some transitions, and from an athletic standpoint, always achieving at a high level. Was there a difficult transition from, again, high school to college? Where was there a time where you're like, oh, snap? I know you did mention where things, you got to be ready when they come. Were there some times where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can step into this, especially after achieving at such a high level? When was that moment, or when were those moments?
Well, I feel like a moment where like an opportunity presented itself, and I was not ready. Wasn't football, when it was like, it was a combine, but leading up, you know what I mean? Like me in my heart, I didn't feel like I prepared fully for that opportunity. You know what I mean? With the weightlifting, with the training, with the running, getting ready to run the 40 and doing all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And then when the day came, I didn't perform like I wanted to, or like I felt like I should have in my mind. You know what I mean? So, to answer your question, like that's a time in my life where I felt like, the opportunity, it was there. You know what I mean? It was, it was scouts out there. They got their clocks, they got their boards. Like, if you ready, like, you know what I mean? They, you do what you're supposed to do. They looking, but if you don't, they not. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just what it was. And I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? And it was very disappointing, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of drove me in other areas, you know. So.
And in those other areas, like, what did it drive you? Like, how did you? All right, so let me just go ahead and just talk like how we usually talk. Look, when I was in the NFL,
yeah,
you used to come and train with me,
right?
So when I was training in the NFL, I want to bring everybody into this little small story. When I was in the NFL, we would train together, and when we would train together, I would see you do some incredible things, and I knew that you always had the skills, and we always talk about mindset, and you would see me do some of the things, and you knew like right away from my attitude that no matter what, I was going to make it. And when you would train with me, I would see that in you, and I was just like, he about to make it, right? And so when we would go places, when you met Calvin, Calvin Johnson Jr., he actually just like, what team you play for? Because he thought you played in the league in the NFL, and you were like, oh, I don't play for no team, but you were out there mossing people, during that time when Randy Moss was really mossing people. And so, can you talk about like, having all the skill sets and the opportunity, but not being able to like move it forward? What was like, what was one of the things that you felt that you could have put more of your energy towards?
Man, I really, I really felt like in order for me to, and I'm just talking about me personally, not everybody, but me personally, like I felt like I should have embedded it more, like like when I first got to North Texas, I wasn't really a highly recruited freshman or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was pretty much like mid to bottom tier on the recruit list. But after we got there as freshmen, I was the only freshman on offense that was running with the ones and twos. And that happened because, I had this Coach Martin, and he made me like, it was like all I did was, it was football was in me. It was nothing else. Like I literally blocked out everything else that was going on in life. Like it was literally just film, like get up, eat breakfast, film, practice, film, sleep, get practice again, eat, sleep, get up and do it again. Like that was it. Like it was locked in my mind.
Right.
And like I feel like anytime you do that with anything that you got going on in life, like there's no way, because you're too locked in. Like everything else it doesn't even matter. It's like you're bulletproof to anything else that's going on outside of what you're focused on, and no matter what it is, you know what I'm saying. And I feel like once he left, and then when it was my time to do that, like my senior, and he wasn't around anymore, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of depended on, I'm fast enough. Well, I'm cold enough. You know what I mean? Like if they bring him out here, we could do something. But it's not like it wasn't like that. Like, I wasn't fully prepared to get to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Like the skill set is one thing, but like harnessing the talent, like, working on the craft, like perfecting it, like, like I'm saying, like just being in it, like completely into football, like nothing else. And I think that's why, I think that's where I fell by the wayside, because, I want to do a little bit of this, I want to go here, I'm partying over here. Oh, the house party going on, I'm in there, and you can't be like that, bro. And it's like, but the discipline, that it takes, it pays off, you know what I mean? And when you sacrifice, the sacrifice, it's always worth it, but you gotta sacrifice.
It seems that you've caught the message, so to speak, of sacrifice. Now excelling, providing, services, free services, and then two real estate companies really moving. So you kind of explained kind of what clicked. What's different, let's say now, from a discipline standpoint? Like what keeps you moving, motivated, be like, I'm waking up with this goal and nothing's going to shake me from it?
To be honest with you, Stan, you feel me? I got to be 100% honest with you. The thing that, that changed and clicked for me was just having everything taken from me. You know what I'm saying? Like literally being locked up. Like that really was the clicking. Like when you have it taken away from you, you got nothing but time and to with your thoughts, with yourself, to you know what I'm saying, to rehearse every action, everything you think you could have did right, wrong, or whatever. But just using that time to really just grow your mind. Because, you know, and that was like one of the, you know, it was one of the worst times of my life. But, you know, having people like Prince around, you know what I'm saying, my mom, you know what I'm saying, other people like to, you know, kind of guide me and, you know, and help me, you know, it helped me, gave me the confidence again, because when something like that happens to you, you kind of lose confidence. And, you know, football and anything in life, like just, you know, being good at football is like, it happens because you're highly confident in yourself. And when something happens like that, you know, and it's because of decisions and bad choices that you make in life, and it's taken away from you, you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
you're always looking forward to make the right decisions once you like.
Man, but then when you're there, and then you know you use the time wisely, and then you understand what it is, you know, when you out, and you know what I'm saying, you literally you go back to that focus that got you playing with the ones and twos as a freshman. You go back to that focus, like you whatever it is. All right, you know, you want to be in real estate. Okay, cool. You know the laws in your place. You know how to, you know, okay, when you what you trying to do, you trying to buy, flip, and rent. You trying to hold long term, short. Like, what is it you're trying to do? Figure it out, and then attack. Just attack.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna mess up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything. It ain't gonna go right the first time. It might not go right the second time. Shit, it might not go right the third time. But you just gotta keep pressing. It's gonna go right. It's gonna go right. Like, it might take some time. And in that time might be teaching you the discipline. That time might be teaching you the persistence, the time, the perseverance. You know, that's what the time is teaching you. Because right when you about to give up and quit, I mean, it's right there waiting for you on the other side. Like literally every time, every time. As soon as you about to be like, man, this has been taking too long, bro. It's right there. I don't give up, man. If you watch it, don't give up, man. Don't give up.
Hey,
man.
nice.
Don't give up, man.
Loving it, man. Look. We got to come and just say good day, Chance. Cedric D. Edison. Appreciate it. Said, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Yeah, man. So I love that. I love everything that you just mentioned, man. When you talk about, you know, persistence, never giving up. Man, somebody just hit us with the man. Prince, this is so great, man. Joel, keep going. You're dropping all the jewels, man. They love it. Man,
you know,
you're inspiring people, man.
No,
man, keep inspiring people. This is what it's about, man. You know, because a lot of times, you know, we can turn our, how do you say it, Stan? You said our stories into something else, or I forgot exactly how you mentioned it. Do you remember?
Golly, I'll think about it. It's one of those good.
Basically, man, you turn your stories into triumphant stories. You know, you
turn your mess into a message, and your ideas into inevitability.
You turn your mess into a message, man, and you do those things to help build yourself and make the right decisions, because that's what it's about. It's about growing and evolving. And one of the things that you did mention that I really stand by is meditation. And you didn't say meditation, you didn't per se meditation, but what you did mention was spending time with yourself, understanding yourself, understanding who you are, understanding why you make the decisions that you make. And when you spend enough time doing that, you know, you develop as a person, and you know what plan that you want to execute and how you're going to put it together, and you focus on doing the right things. Because I remember my cousin told me that, you know, it takes the same amount of energy to do the right thing than to do the bad thing, and
it's real.
And right,
especially when you really put some thought into it, you like,
right. And I was just like, I was like, wow. He said when he said that, I was like, okay, wow, let's talk. You know, we was in Africa. I just came to Africa. My cousin had picked me up from the airport, and he was talking to me, and that was the first thing he said. I'll never forget that. And that was just such a beautiful moment. I was just like, yeah, I'm in Africa. This is awesome. My cousin just told me this. So man, like this is incredible, man. But this is what it's about. You know, like just keep dropping those jewels. We're loving it. Stan, take it away.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, just that reminds me of even in business, this yin and the yang, and the balance, because people don't understand that it takes just as much energy to give something away as it does to sell it. So some people are like, oh, just give stuff away. I'm like, no, you've probably found this, that you have to give people money just to do something that's not going to cost them anything, just to get them in a position. So it's really interesting that it takes equal energy to get whatever it is that you need done. So why not choose the higher of the two? Not always easy, but certainly, as you mentioned, we have to sacrifice. Yeah. We work. Hey, we're inspiring each other right now. So I got to say, Joe, man, like, so I usually wait to ask this question, but I think based on the conversation, I want to ask now, and then it's going to go into a follow-up. You've realized and had some focus. What advice would you give to the younger Joel? We're talking, let's say the 3-star letterman in football, 4-star track, superstar before college. What would you say to that Joel if he was listening, if you ran into him on the street, on the sidewalk right now?
Man, I would literally tell him, bro, don't be afraid to be a leader, bro. Don't be afraid to lead by example, bro. Like, it's okay, like, because sometimes, you think it's not cool to do certain things, like, instead of, wasting time doing, BS on the game, being study hall, being with the tutor learning, you know what I mean? Staying on top, getting that 4.0 GPA, that 3 point whatever, you know what I mean? Like, being in the weight room first, last one leaving, being on the track first, last one leaving, on the field, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, it's okay, bro. You know what I mean? They might laugh at you at first, but they're going to respect you in the end, bro. Do not be afraid to be a leader, Yeah, that's what I tell them.
That's heavy. You're speaking to me right now, actually. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, but it's funny, when I think about track, let's say in high school, I was fast, talented, but let's say the guys that I thought were not necessarily even the most talented, but cool. Let's say I saw them, huffing or taking a break or taking a shortcut or chilling out during a long run where I could have easily done it. It's like, oh, that's what cool is doing. Let me do cool too. Again, it's just, so even at that point where I feel like I led in some ways, when it was easy for me to not lead, I didn't. So again, for those of you all watching, take heed, listen as Joe drops these bombs. And my other question is interesting that you've dedicated yourself to focus and building, but that leads me to building real estate. Yeah. When did that come into play? When did you decide, like, hey, real estate is this is what I want to do. This is how I want to build now.
Oh, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I don't think you ready for this story, man. My
really?
real estate story. You're not ready.
Really?
Yeah, you're not ready for my real estate story. You're not ready for my. So
okay.
So real estate, it started off with me as an elective course in college at University of North Texas, right? I've never, I ain't really taking it serious. I was sitting at the top, I don't know if at the big universities. I know, P and Georgia Tech. It's a class for like 100 people, 120 people. Right. I'm all the way at the top of the back. I'm chilling. I got my UNC football gear on. But it was just one day in class. He had we had a contract on the overhead, and I'm looking at the contract. I just noticed two things. I noticed that the contract was for $2 million, and I noticed that our teacher's name was on the contract. I was like, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Dog, this dude is doing deals for $2 million and he's teaching in this class. I'm interested. No. Literally from that day, I sat in front of the class, every class. Real estate is probably one of the courses from freshman year UNT through my senior year that it was never under an A that I made in any real estate course. Like every class was an A, that's how serious I was about it. Like I was so intrigued by like, what I'm saying, you can make money off selling property, you can make money off renting property. And I was so intrigued by that because I was in college and I knew how rent worked. You know what I'm saying? And I knew how like, hey, okay, so if you got a property over here, like, hey, this thing ain't never ever going to be vacant. Like this thing will really rotate with students, and if you really build a good rapport with students, you can have the students that's in there prepping the ones that's the next ones that's coming in. It just kept like a little rotation, and that's what I was thinking then in college. So I'm just like, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? It got me. You know what I'm saying? I was hooked, bro. You know, so but you know, just like football, I had to learn lingo. I had to learn, you know, about rents. I had to learn about leases. I had to learn about property tax. I had to learn about all that, man. All you know, yeah. So,
bro, you got me more interested in real estate. I don't pay a whole lot of mine, but I'm like, you know what?
No. Really, it changed my
The
life,
energy.
man. Like real talk, it changed my life. And then you know, just being a researcher too, and then being able to find different opportunities in real estate, you know what I'm saying, like across the United States, you know, because I'm from Houston, Texas, but right now I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. You know, like it's a very interesting opportunity in real estate over here, you know, like in the West End of Louisville, you know, which is considered a quote unquote undesirable area. Like the city of Louisville, they have a whole initiative to rebuild this entire side of town. So my wife, she works at Churchill Down, where they have the Kentucky Derby and stuff like that. You know, she's like the head of HR up there. So you know, that's what brought us to Louisville. But you know, I was going back and forth from here to Houston, and you know, I didn't really know. But then I tapped into the real estate market out here, and I saw that opportunity. And then once I really dove into it, I'm like, no, they were just like giving properties away here. Like, you know, properties, you know, the first property I bought was like $1,500.
Huh?
You know what I mean? Yeah. 15. You know what I'm saying? And so
you about to have a business partner out there, Joe.
And so I'm like, look, so I tapped in with him, and I was understanding what they did. Like, you know, I would go to city meetings and stuff like that, and I would see the plan that they you know, they shown like the 5-year plan for this side of town, and I'm just like, whoa. So, you know, like, yeah. And then they had properties that they were selling as low as $1.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. You know.
and you have an opportunity to flip that and make money off of that.
Oh man, what? So, you know, I just give you the small, you know, real short numbers. Like, so
are y'all listening to this?
This is a master class. This low key became a master class. No cap.
So listen. So the first property I got, $1,500. You know, I had to do a full renovation. You know what I mean? It was a complete tear down because it was been vacant for 10 years or whatever. You know, I put about maybe about like 63,000 in it. Total rent, you know, everything, new roof, piping, electricity, everything's brand new house. The first valuation I got on the house was 124.
Wow. Look,
Off
somebody hit it.
$1,500.
Where my stimmy check at? Where's that?
Yeah. No, talk bad. Where that stimmy at? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
Wow.
Talk about flipping then flipping.
Yeah.
Wow. Yo, congratulations.
Man, Joe, that's beautiful.
Thank you, man.
Yes.
You know, and so, you know, now I kind of like work close with the city. Like, you know, they start bringing, I got like 7 properties out here now. Like the city now, they literally call me with deals and stuff like this. Like, hey, yo, Joe, we got these lots, man. It's like 7 lots connected side by side on Dixie Highway, man. We do a deal like all the lots, you know, 7 lots for 10 grand. And it's like, I'm like, what?
Excuse me?
Yeah, an assembly lot deal, man. It's like, you know, that's amazing, bro. So and that's just, you know, through the relationships and just understanding real estate, and then just researching and then finding these opportunities, man. Just catapulting on, not even playing. You know?
Congratulations. I'm sure the 3 of us are going to talk about this afterwards, but I also want to say a word you mentioned, you said relationships. Boy, that was church on a Tuesday.
Very important.
People underestimate the value. I always say like respect and relationships are the ultimate currency.
That's it.
Right. Sometimes people aren't willing to pay. Respect is free currency. Like it carries a lot of weight. But relationship currency is something people don't pay attention to. Sometimes you invest in those, you find them, you become intentional. Right. How do you feel about the word, when you think about the word relationships, what comes to mind? What does that word mean to you? No,
it means a lot to me, man, because a lot of what I've built in my life is off relationships. You know what I mean? And knowing, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have relationship and network, like you just have the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you're able to use your network, and you know what I'm saying, and you're able to use your relationships, like, or cultivate, or I don't even want to use the word use, but you are using the benefit, like, from the relationships, like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, relationships are everything, man. Like, that's why I like, I treat them so, I don't even know the word to use. Like, it's so close. Like, when I'm building a relationship with you, like you're gonna understand it. Like, if you know what I mean. Like, when you know
Right.
me and you understand, like, we have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You gonna know it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know my family. I know your family. Like, no, for real. It's just how it is, man. Anybody I'm close with, that's just how it is. And you know what I
Right.
mean? I don't know what that is, man. You know what I mean? It's just, I guess that's just me, man. You know, but relationships are everything to me, Stan, for real, man. Because, I mean, yeah, it's gonna show where you're gonna go. Like, if you don't have relationships, it's gonna show, and if you do, it will. You know,
It's gonna show where you gonna go. That's
Hey,
yeah, it's
awesome.
gonna show where you're gonna go.
That's a
Yeah,
bar right there. That's a bar right there.
you know, you
He
know,
didn't even try to do it.
poet and
yeah.
didn't know it.
Hey, you know, like,
So
for real,
profit.
yeah, you know,
Hey, it's
Here's what
awesome, man.
I'll say a couple more things. It's funny because I always say the game is rigged.
Mm,
Now, what's important is to begin to rig it in your favor, because you
mm,
won't change it. You won't. You can. It's best for those, again, listening, and the fellas can certainly echo this or drop more knowledge on it if they like. But just understanding there's certain rules to the game, and some people
mm.
spend their life trying to either ignore it, change it, or pretend like it doesn't exist. When the best thing you could do is understand the rules of the game and rig it in your favor. Does that make
Ooh.
sense? How you feel?
yeah, that you hit it right, hit the nail on
Right,
the, talking about perfect. You hit the
right.
square in. That's how you do it. Yeah, you got to learn the rules, man. And then,
Joel, speaking of rules, I wanted to ask you about your game that you have. There's a game that you have, and it's a board game. And I remember you telling me that you bought it, and it was like $70, right? I
oh
think
yeah,
it's
okay, yeah, you
somewhere around
talking about
70,
cash flow.
70, 80. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yes.
mm-hmm,
Cash
mm-hmm.
flow, man.
Yeah,
Look, for
yeah, yeah,
anybody out there, I think the game was made by Robert Kawasaki, right?
yeah, right. Kiyosaki, yeah. You know,
Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. And
yeah. I mean,
he put a game together. And I remember one day I called Joel on FaceTime, and I was just like, "What's going on, man?" He's just like, he was shaking the dice, nothing, just playing this game. I was like, "What game you playing, man?"
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and so he told me the name of the game, and I went to go look it up on Amazon. And I remember looking, and it was $70. I was like, "Why would you pay this much for a board
yeah,
game?" Just
yeah,
like, what is going
yeah,
on? But when I
yeah.
read the instructions and I read, the rules to the game, I understand why they call it cash flow, man. So if you can you elaborate just a little bit on that?
Yeah, man, the game it's a, you know what I mean? I wish Kiyosaki was listening to this. He could pay me for this free advertising I'm about to give him, but it's all good. You know what I'm talking about? But the
Appreciate
game
it.
it's amazing game. Like, it literally teaches you financial literacy, you know what I mean, while you're actually playing, because it's like, everybody starts off in a rat race. You got a job, you start off as a doctor, a lawyer, a trash man, a police officer, something, whatever, you know what I mean? But the whole key of the game is that it's really telling you it doesn't matter where you start off in life, is that we can all make it to the big, you know what I'm saying, the big place. But
Wow,
but
wow.
you have to you have to have financial literacy to get it. So it's like,
Mm,
you start the game off in the rat race, and like, they have like doodads and small deals, like, so when you shake it, but every time you cross goal, like a Monopoly, instead of collecting 200, you get your paycheck. Like, with your job, it, has a paycheck on there that you collect every time you go across. But within the
wow.
game, like, different things can happen. You
Yeah.
can do certain deals and purchase real estate, or certain things that you can get your girl knocked up and have a kid. Now you start losing a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, these, I mean, just like
Real
real,
life.
Real
yeah,
life.
real life.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
every
Just certain,
every yeah, it reminds me of that Cosby episode with Theo and Bill Cosby.
I never forget that. Oh, he took all his
bro.
money.
No, I'm talking about,
Yes.
it's too real. I'm like, it's certain stocks that you can buy in the game, and then when you purchase them, and then at a certain time in the game again, you come back to that stock and it's blown, like just like in real life. And then it takes you out of the rat race into the big deals. You know what I mean? You clear your debt. You know what I mean? And now you're in the big deals. And now in the big deals, man, that's where life changes. That's where you can buy a football team. You can buy a couple of hair salons. And the game is just too much, man. It just teaches you, and it's so real. Like the game it's so real. It's like Monopoly on steroid, but it really teaches us about money, how it works. You know, how to create it, how to make it. You know what I mean? How to save it. You know, what I mean? Hey man, it's, you know, like I said, they ain't even paying me for this advertisement, y'all. That's how much I love the game. That's how much I love the game. You know what I'm saying? That's how much I love the game. It's a beautiful thing, though. But like, you know, it's a great teacher. It's a great teacher for us, though. It's a great teacher for us, though, for sure.
Man, that's awesome. Well, man, I want to know one thing. You know, you've accomplished so much. You went through so much in life, and you are where you are today. And you're doing it. You know, you have a great vibe, a positive vibe. You know, what is it that you want your legacy to look like?
Ooh, man.
When it's all said and done.
Man, and when it's all said and done, man, I just want people to be like, you know, hey man, yo, that dude right there, no matter what he went through, hey man, he didn't stop and he was a giver. Like, you know, man, that dude, he loved, like, you know, he loved his people. He was a giver, man. Like, and then, you know, you can say what you want to say about him, you know, coming up. Like, ain't nobody perfect. We all make mistakes, but at the end of the day, when it's all said, I just want people to look at me and, you know, I hope that I inspire, you know, I hope they look at me as inspiration. I hope they look to me and you know, it's like, you know, they're inspired by me and like, hey man, this dude he was giving, man, because that's why I love giving, man. You know what I mean? Even though I talk a lot of noise and sometimes I might be rough around the edges, man, but you know, in my heart, I'm a giver, man. You know what I mean? That's why I have the organization. That's why I do what I do, you know, for the kids in the community of Alief, like, and that's why I don't want a dime from them. Like, you know, I want it to all come from, you know, me and my partner, and you know, that's why nobody really understood that. Like when we first started doing it, they used to ask us like, man, so man, you like, you ain't charging the kids for the kid, man. Like how you making money, man? I just be like, bro, this ain't about making money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a non-profit organization. Like, we're giving back. Like, all we're doing is giving. Like, I ain't not trying to make a dime out of this. All I want these kids to do, I want to be happy. We feed them, you know what I mean? And we try to educate them. Like, I didn't even really speak. The Friday night before the camp, we do an education night. You know, I would have the administrator from my school, University of North Texas. She would come down and she would talk to them about clearing house. You know, just really just getting them ready for college. And this is from 8th grade to 11th grade. You know what I mean? So just trying to get them ready early. You know, understanding about clearing house, understanding the test scores you need to have, the best ways to educate yourself for the test, the free money that's out there that you can get, you know what I'm saying, going as your senior year before you can get on the college campus, you know, stuff like this. So and I just feel like I do it because, you know, it wasn't nobody before us, you know, like when we were coming up that was doing it. And it was probably because it was nobody before them that was doing it. So I just like, we just gonna change the narrative, man. And you know, and I'm inspired by people like Prince and others from my neighborhood that, you know, that have gone out and done great things, you know, and they're giving back and how they do, you know. So they inspire me as well. Dante Stiggers, another guy in my neighborhood that, you know, that was doing, you know, he's doing basketball. He's doing since I can remember, like probably a decade now. He's a year under, like a year above me. I'm sorry, I'm a year under him. You know, so I look at him and I'm inspired by that. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to do that for football for these dudes, man, because it's a beautiful thing. You have a whole basketball game and everything. Like all old neighborhood do something. Like it's just love, bro. It's just, and it's like, you know, and I don't know, man. I just appreciate that. I appreciate that type of energy. I appreciate, you know, everything about it. You know, that's why I do it, and that's why I love it, man. It's from my heart, I guess. You know, that's why I'm so passionate about it. So I'm going hard and just rambling right now, but you know,
it's all good.
It's all good. You're speaking from the heart, man.
Love, man.
Right. Right. You're speaking with passion. You're speaking from the heart, and that's all we can ask for, man. And you know,
for sure.
So one of our guests, he had a question for you, Joel.
Okay.
He said, in talking, building relationships to developing a game, I'm sure fear came up. How did you overcome that, and what scares you now?
How do
a
you
good question,
overcome
Seth.
fear, man? I mean, bro. I mean, you just gotta just keep going, like just keep going, like I take it like in football, like that first play, like you nervous, you know what I'm saying? And I remember like sometimes I'd be like, man, I ain't gonna know, if the first play to me, I catch the ball as soon as I get tackled, boom, the first hit, I'm like, okay, I was good. I said, all right, shake it off, let's go, next. I'm ready to go again, let's go, baby. You know what I'm saying? So Cedric, I say, man, like how I overcame it, I just kept going, bro. And I use that, I just harnessed that fear and that energy and just use it, and I just kept going, bro. But what scares me now, being stagnant, bro. Like, you know what I mean, not moving at all. That scares me. You know what I mean? Getting comfortable and just being stagnant. I'm terrified of that. You know, that's what scares me now. So that's why I just try to keep moving. You know,
that is super duper real. God, we may have to do this again, Joe. I'm gonna say that on air, so you gotta come back.
It's nothing, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing, baby. It's nothing, baby.
It's funny.
Phone call away.
Just a phone. I love it, man. It's funny. You made me think of a pool. It's about fear. You said football, and I thought, because one thing I dislike doing is jumping in a cold pool. Like it'll literally take it's taking me 2 hours to get in full disclosure, and I can swim. But I'll be like, put my toe up, like walk down, knees in. I'm like, sometimes I'll jump. Sometimes I will like act like I trip myself. It is silly. I'm an adult and I do this, but I say all that to say that when I finally get in, I'm in. Like it's the best feeling. But it's never much like you being in football, Prince being in it's not that you can't. It's just doing it. And that's what's interesting about fear. Most fear doesn't even come from a situation of not being capable. It's just not being willing to push past that feeling of just unknown, not even capability. Thank you for reminding that. Thank you for the question, Sam.
Man, Stan, you ready to get a trophy today, man.
My bad. Y'all got me in the zone today. I'm in the zone.
I love it, man.
Man, that's what's up, bro.
I appreciate you. Prince, any final thoughts, last thoughts that you got on your mind you want to share?
Man, my last thoughts is, man, Joe, I'm proud of you, man. Just proud of what you're doing and everything. And, your family that you started, man, just keep going, keep being an inspiration, and keep motivating, from the inside out. And you're going to always connect with these kids and everybody in our community to make a difference. So I really do appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
proud
I will, bro. Man,
for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hey, Joel, any final words from you, man?
Nah, man, like I said, man, like I appreciate y'all for having me. It's been an incredible conversation, man. I be peeping y'all, man. I be watching y'all on my Facebook, so I'm kind of like a humble fan, Stan, you the voice of the show. You feel me? Like,
I appreciate you, man. Great to be.
You got to show me where you going to them voice classes at, bro. Your voice is impeccable, man. Impeccable, bro.
Let's capture this. I want the world to hear that. We going to the top, everybody.
Hey, I'm talking about you. Hey, you ready, bro? Nah, I appreciate it, though, man. For real, I appreciate y'all having me. It's been wonderful, man.
Thank you so very much. Now, I'll quickly say too. I've been having this discussion, and I gave a keynote, and it was entitled "Economics Over Activism." That's the title of the keynote. It's supposed to be controversial, I guess, to some degree, depending on how you take it. But I say all that to say because economics, in my thoughts, professionally, personally, move the needle. And so I want to thank, obviously, Prince, and certainly you, Joel, because you are moving the economic needle. What you even mentioned, doing something, boom, I'm giving this to you, but I'm giving you intellectual property. I'm putting people in front of you that can build you, grow you, develop you to then affect the economy, which is where we all know the needle moves. So I absolutely want to make sure that I thank you for that as we, close out the show. Thank you officially. And Golly, dope show, man. Thank you, Joe, for being Joe Prophet. It can be Prophet and Prophet with a PH.
Hey, man, give it to me now. Give it to me.
I got you.
Hey, where can people find you, Joe?
Man, you can catch me on Twitter, IG, landlord_Joe. You know, got my podcast. You see, I got my gear on, man. OSOS podcast. We on every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. You know, we live. You know, me and my wife. Hey, man. You know, y'all come check us out. We talk sports. We talk, you know, economics. We talk finance. We talk everything, man. You know, check us out.
Oh,
Man.
that's great.
I be telling,
that is great. Landlord_Joe. I'm with it.
You feel me?
Absolutely with
Twitter,
it.
IG, I'm there.
That's what it is. Yo, thank you, Joe, for being so transparent and sharing your story. And for those of y'all watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Prince Daniels Jr. YouTube page. And you can join us here every week on the Game Beyond the Game Facebook page at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We look forward to seeing y'all on the next go around. Have a good one, y'all.
Have a good one, y'all. Peace.